If you have a hard time taking a break, even when you have time that's set aside for it, you're not bad at rest. It's just that your nervous system may not feel safe without pressure. My name is Elyssa Smith. I'm a trauma informed executive coach. And today on the Unlock Your Blocks podcast, I want to walk you through why it is that high achievers have a hard time slowing down mentally and emotionally, even when physically they've set aside that time to do just that. We're really good at all the things, right? That's the image that we're trying to put out there. We are all, the recovering perfectionists of the world unite. Because this is what we spend our lives doing is to hustle. And I want to walk you through even just an exercise to start today that's going to help you ratchet down the pressure on yourself. And I want to start by telling you a story about I've been doing this for years. Helping people with their nervous systems is my jam. Like if you feel like you can't rest, I'm your girl. I'm going to help you get peaceful. And I'm going to help find hidden trauma that might be keeping you procrastinating or keeping you feeling like an imposter when you're actually successful. Or you keep getting having those sort of overwhelmed days where you're stuck on the couch and you can't get your work done until the last second. There are all kinds of ways that our nervous systems try to protect us. That's what I do. I help people with this. And it can still come back to bite me. The reason that I went into this profession is literally because this is what I had a hard time with. My nervous system was always trying to block me, always trying to put a ceiling on my productivity because it was always worried that it needed to protect me from real stuff like burnout and hard criticism from myself and other people. And so my system has been in overdrive like since I was born. So when I started coaching people and getting trained in the hidden traumas that cause all this stuff, it's like something unlocked for me. And recently, I took myself, could tell that I was starting to get a little bit overwhelmed. My nervous system was, I've got some stuff going on in my life and in my business where it's like, oh, I could probably use a break. So I booked myself a little nervous system reset. And so I took a few days off work and I went to a little, bed and breakfast, and I booked myself some time. You want to know what day one was? My old defaults coming back. The defaults that said, well, there's an issue at work and your assistant is contacting you and there's this stuff going on that you need to be on top of it. Otherwise, you're not going to be okay. The level of crisis that was actually happening was not really a crisis at all. Okay. It was very small, but my nervous system was responding like it was something really, really big. And so when that happens, it's a protection response. Your nervous system wants you to stay alert. It is trying to help us not get eaten by a predator. Honestly, that's what it's doing because your sympathetic nervous system response, the fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, are designed to help you escape a threat, an actual threat. So I want to walk you through the exercise that I did on this nervous system retreat because this is accessible to everyone. You can literally start to rewire your nervous system to let you take a friggin' break sometimes when you want to so that you're not sabotaging your productivity and carving out time that you're just like losing time distracted and scrolling because your brain and your nervous system need a break. Pushing things off until the last second when you're binge watching something and you know that you really quote should be doing that next thing to advance the business or advance your career or work with your family, whatever it is. There are pieces of us that are always in play in that nervous system, in that survival system, that are never going to let us rest if it doesn't feel safe to take the pressure off. So we have to actually create a process within ourselves that makes it feel safer to take the break, that makes it feel like, oh, actually, there isn't a threat right now. So on this nervous system retreat, I'm in this beautiful nature filled place. I have a little suite to myself. I'm really taking care of myself. It's really the first time I've done something on this level for this long by myself, not for anything in particular, just to be there for me and to get clear on some of the direction that I was seeking. So that first day when my nervous system was like, there's a fire, there's a fire, there's a fire, you need to run. It was really discombobulating because I was like, well, I booked this time and now I've got a whole day where my nervous system is just like running in circles in a spiral. And our systems do that because it's expecting at some point that things will feel like they are not a threat. In cave person days, when there would be a threat, right? Okay, let's say there's a bear that comes into the cave and it's like, "Alert, alert, there's a bear." And so we get this adrenaline and the cortisol rush and the blood pumping real hard through the body and the heart pounding, or maybe you're holding your breath, getting ready to fight to the death or to flee or to fawn to try and pacify the aggressor or to freeze, to, just to play dead or whatever we're doing. So those four responses are great when you're dealing with a wild animal that's after you, right? You just have to know which one to use. And so you have to have that in mind when you're back in those days and it's a physical threat. So then let's say you run from that threat, right? So your body is ready. It's got that all the chemicals going, and you run and you flee and you climb the nearest tree and the bear doesn't chase you or whatever. So then at that point, you look around and we realize that, okay, the threat is actually gone. You take a deep breath. And then you go back to whatever you were doing. You can go collect food now, or you can go back to the cave and make sure it's all clear. And then your nervous system would actually have a reset, and the body would exit all the cortisol and the adrenaline, and you would come back to a calm place. But when we have devices and notifications and, people reaching us when we're having our day off, and it's not, to any fault of their own, right? Like my team was doing what they were supposed to do. They were supposed to let me know if X, Y, and Z things didn't happen. And they just let me know, oh, these things aren't working. We'll have to work on it when you get back. But my nervous system is like, it's a bear. It's a wild animal in the cave. Look out. We got to fight something. And I'm like, I came here to release the pressure. And now it's like my body's turning it on. So even if I hadn't had those crises at work, now chances are I've been doing this for enough years that I probably wouldn't have had such a strong, cortisol and survival response had I not had some issues going on. But when are there not issues going on, right? So if you know how to tell your system, actually, this doesn't merit survival mode. This merits a quick 1, 2, 3 exercise, and now we're safe. If you can tell your system that, it's communicating by giving you the heebie jeebies every time you try and slow down, like, oh gosh, I'm not productive. What's going on? It's communicating with you. It thinks there's a threat. There's a simple communication back to your nervous system that you can give it that will actually calm this response right down. And it's so lovely. And I can't help smiling while I talk about this, because the way our bodies and brains are made is to calm down when there's not a real threat. But when you learn in childhood, and we're not defective that we have this response when it doesn't really merit that response. We're not defective because as children, we learned whatever we needed to learn in order to survive in that environment. So, however you were raised, if you're here, you're probably one of us that had a lot of pressure on us to perform perfectly. And if that's the case, it doesn't feel safe to not be productive. It really doesn't. Your system learned you're going to get the most attention that you need when you're performing perfectly, or when you're not making mistakes, or when you're the hardest worker in the room. That was me. Or it's going to learn that you're going to avoid harm by being the hardest worker in the room, being the most productive. Or it's going to cope with work. I have several clients who kind of call themselves workaholics because it felt safe to be productive, because to be unproductive meant we didn't have value, we didn't have worth. So, do you see where your system comes by this response very honestly? This sympathetic nervous system response to a threat that's not actually a life or death threat is very normal. It's very common. And our brains don't even, it's not even a choice, As you're sitting there and you're trying to like take your deep Zen breaths and you're sitting on the beach with your family and trying to enjoy a vacation, but you cannot stinking get the knots out of the tops of your shoulders because your body is just like, oh gosh, at any moment, we are going to lose it. And we need to be hyper vigilant to avoid that. Well, thank God for that little response, because that's the reason you made it to where you are now. It's the reason that I'm okay now. However, it's not real fun to continue on in that direction. So here's what I did. Here's what I like to do. And this is how I lead my clients through this with a little exercise. Your body needs to learn that it doesn't have to stay productive in order to be safe. So, what you can do, I would highly recommend this. Now, for me, I was able to do this when I had a big break and was nice little vacation for myself. And granted, things still didn't go perfectly after this, but my nervous system calmed right down after this. But I would not wait until you have a big chunk of time set aside. I would create a little space today if you can. Maybe before you go to bed, maybe right after you watch this video or listen to this podcast. Take 3 minutes and just lay on your back on the floor if you can. Close your eyes if it feels comfortable to do so, and take 3 long, deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Did you just do it with me? It feels nice, doesn't it? I just rolled my eyes so much when people told me, like, "Oh, you need to do deep breathing and you need to meditate and whatever." And I was like, "Meditation? Like, I'm gonna punch your meditation in the face. That's not gonna help my trauma. Like, I'm bleeding out here, guys." And I was so stressed all the time. And I still carry a lot of stress, to be totally honest. This is an ongoing journey. But being able to communicate to your body that you're safe can only happen a couple ways, and one is with breath. Your amygdala in your brain that's in charge of that sympathetic survival response, it's like getting your brain to pump out the cortisol like it's its job. It really is its job. And that amygdala needs to hear from you in a language it understands, that we're not being chased by a wild animal, that it is actually safe to not be productive. And so if you can carve out a 3-minute break here and there where you lay on the floor and you do your 3 deep breaths and you just try to feel the support of the ground beneath you, it starts to fill up a little bucket that tells of information for your amygdala, and it tells it, "We're safe. We are not running away. We are not fighting to the death." So when you can start putting that information in there before you have your big break, let's say you're getting ready for a vacation at some point, or you're going to take a day off, or it's just maybe a normal Saturday and you want to not feel like you're panicked all the time, try little baby steps like this. So once I did that on the retreat, then I took a journal and I wrote down everything that felt overwhelming. And you can do this too. A brain dump is so nice for the nervous system. So just do a brain dump if you can, and you can voice note this. I have some clients that prefer just to use voice note support for things like this. They'll just kind of leave me long messages and they're processing things. And then we'll sort through together and create a pathway out of the internal stuff that's happening that's getting in the way of the forward motion. So once you do the brain dump and you've done the 3 deep breaths, then your system is starting to get some proof that we're safe. This is okay. And the more little moments like this that you can string together, the more your brain will get the impression, hey, rest is not the enemy. Rest isn't going to get me harmed. Rest isn't going to cause problems. Rest won't get in the way of the love and care that I need. And so if you're not productive, then that doesn't come across as a threat anymore. So it's a gradual, lifelong process. There's not a finish line to this, but you can start today to really enjoy your rest, to really feel grounded in those little in between moments in the seams. And by the time you get to a day off, then you can, wow, just really let your shoulders down, feel the weight of your body in the seat beneath you, feel fully grounded, and not have to put the pressure on yourself or to criticize yourself for not being productive. Again, with the air quotes. So I hope you'll try this. I really would love to know in the comments if this works for you. And if you want to reach out to me, if you're still feeling uncomfortable with rest after trying this, or even if you just want to come straight to having someone help you with this, you can download my 5 nervous system hacks that you can do at your desk or anywhere at elyssasmith.com/reset. And what that's going to do is teach you 5 more little tiny exercises that you can start to integrate into your day that send a message, safety, safety, we're safe, to your amygdala, to your vagus nerve, to all the little parts of your body that just want to keep you safe. And they think that hypervigilance and productivity is the answer. And what we're going to teach those parts of ourselves as we go on this journey together is that rest is the foundation for forward motion. I hope this was helpful for you. And until next time, take such good care of yourself.